Have you ever watched a monitor lizard discover something new? It doesn't simply walk over, look at it, and move on. It stops. It watches. Then the tongue comes out. It may circle the object, touch it, smell it, and sometimes it comes back again just a few seconds later, almost as if it's asking, "What exactly is this?" To us, it can look like curiosity. But something much more interesting may be happening, because monitor lizards don't just explore their environment. They constantly collect information before deciding what something means. And that strange habit of testing almost everything may be one of the reasons monitor lizards are such successful hunters and survivors. Today, we're getting inside that decision-making process and discovering why a monitor lizard seems to investigate almost everything it encounters. Imagine entering a completely unfamiliar room without being able to touch anything. You would probably look around first. Where are the exits? What's moving? What's dangerous? What's worth investigating? A monitor lizard faces a similar problem every time it enters unfamiliar territory. The world is filled with information. New smells, new surfaces, new sounds, potential food, potential threats, and things it simply doesn't understand yet. Instead of immediately reacting, the monitor lizard investigates, because before making a decision, it needs information. This is where one of the monitor lizard's strangest behaviors becomes incredibly important. That constant tongue flicking isn't just something it does for no reason. The tongue helps collect chemical information from the environment. When the tongue returns to the mouth, special sensory structures help analyze those chemical particles. Suddenly, a seemingly ordinary patch of ground becomes a source of information. Something passed through here. Something edible may be nearby. Another animal may have recently been here. The monitor lizard isn't simply smelling the world, it's gathering clues. But collecting information is only the beginning. A monitor lizard also has to decide what that information means. Is that hole safe? Is that smell food? Is that movement dangerous? Is that object worth approaching? And sometimes, the only way to find out is to test it. A careful approach, a tongue flick, a touch, a pause, then another look. Each small action gives the brain another piece of information. And with each piece, the uncertainty becomes smaller. This is something humans often misunderstand about reptiles. We see an animal investigate something and assume it must be interested. But investigation doesn't always mean action. Sometimes, the monitor lizard is simply collecting enough information to decide that something isn't worth its attention. It may inspect a strange object, then walk away. It may follow a scent, then suddenly lose interest. That doesn't mean the investigation failed. The investigation worked. The brain gathered enough information and made a decision. Think about what happens when a monitor lizard discovers something unfamiliar. At first, it knows almost nothing about it, so the brain starts with uncertainty. But then comes the tongue flick, then the eyes, then the movement, then the texture beneath its feet. Each new piece of information changes the picture. Something that looked dangerous from a distance may turn out to be harmless. Something that looked unimportant may suddenly reveal a scent worth following. The monitor lizard isn't simply wandering around, it's constantly updating its understanding of the world. And that's what makes its exploration so fascinating. Every test can change the next decision. A monitor lizard could simply charge towards something interesting, but that would create a problem. The more quickly it moves, the less information it has before committing. Slow exploration gives the brain time to evaluate. Is the scent getting stronger? Is the object moving? Is there another animal nearby? Does the environment feel safe? For a predator, patience isn't weakness, it's information. Sometimes, the smartest move isn't getting closer, it's stopping and learning more first. And this becomes especially interesting when food is involved. A monitor lizard doesn't necessarily treat every potential meal the same way. A strange object may smell interesting, but smell alone doesn't guarantee that it's worth approaching. The lizard may investigate, taste the air, move closer, pause, then decide. Sometimes it continues, sometimes it walks away. That careful evaluation helps prevent a predator from wasting energy on something that isn't actually useful. The test comes first, the decision comes second. But food is only part of the equation. A monitor lizard may investigate a hollow log, a crack between rocks, a new patch of soil, even a recently disturbed area. Every location contains information, and some of those places could become valuable. A hiding spot, a resting area, a route to another part of its territory, or somewhere prey may be hiding. The lizard doesn't need to know the answer immediately. It can investigate now and remember it for later. And here's where things become even more fascinating. Not every investigation starts from zero. Experience matters. A monitor lizard that has encountered the same type of object before already has information stored from previous encounters. That means the next time it sees something similar, it may react differently. It may approach faster, or avoid it immediately. The world isn't just a collection of random objects. It's a collection of experiences, and every experience can influence what the lizard chooses to do next. Every successful investigation gives a monitor lizard something valuable: experience. The next time it encounters a similar smell, a familiar type of shelter, or the same kind of movement, it doesn't have to start from zero. Its previous experiences can influence what happens next. That's important because survival is partly about reducing uncertainty. The more an animal learns about its environment, the fewer unnecessary risks it has to take. A young monitor lizard may investigate almost everything. An experienced one may recognize certain situations much faster. It doesn't mean it stopped being curious. It means its curiosity has become more informed. And that can make every future decision faster and potentially safer. When humans see a monitor lizard investigating everything, we often call it curious. And in a way, that's not completely wrong. But curiosity in the wild has consequences. Learning what is safe, what is edible, where danger comes from, and where shelter can be found can directly affect survival. So when a monitor lizard investigates a strange object, it isn't necessarily playing. It may be building a mental picture of its environment. Every investigation answers a small question, and enough answers can eventually become knowledge. Here's something easy to miss. A successful investigation doesn't always end with action. Sometimes the answer is simply no. No food, no danger, no useful shelter, no reason to continue. And the monitor lizard walks away. That might look boring to us, but from the animal's perspective, that's a successful decision. It gathered enough information without wasting unnecessary energy. The goal was never to investigate forever. The goal was to reduce the uncertainty enough to know what to do next. Watch a monitor lizard long enough and you'll notice something unusual. Its movements can appear deliberate. It stops, looks, flicks its tongue, moves closer, pauses again, then suddenly changes direction. To a casual observer, it might look like random wandering, but there is information being gathered throughout the process. The animal doesn't need to move constantly. It can stop and investigate, and that patience gives its senses time to do their job. What looks slow may actually be a very active form of thinking. So the next time you see a monitor lizard stop in front of something, don't just ask, "What is it doing?" Ask, "What is it trying to find out?" That simple question changes everything. The tongue isn't just flicking, it's collecting clues. The eyes aren't simply looking, they're tracking movement and detail. The feet aren't merely walking, they're experiencing the surface beneath them. And the brain is bringing all of those signals together before deciding what happens next. A monitor lizard doesn't need to understand the world the way we do. It only needs enough information to make the next decision. And perhaps that's the secret behind why these reptiles seem to test everything. They're not just exploring their world, they're learning how their world works. If you enjoyed discovering how reptiles think, subscribe to Cold-Blooded Minds, because every strange behavior hides a decision, and every decision tells a story.